Hello, friends, and welcome to Today in the Word. We are here to talk about our December study, and I'm really pleased to introduce you to a new devotional author, Dr. Eric Moore. Welcome.
Welcome, Jamie. It's good to be here. Glad to be a part of the series. And of course, as you said, this is my first time, so I'm excited about the possibility.
Well, maybe I'll let you say what you do at Moody Bible Institute.
Well, I am a professor in the Applied Theology Field. And so I teach courses that normally when people think about what happens in the church, those are the courses I teach, whether it's preaching or spiritual formation, ministry leadership, those type of things. And I also have the responsibility of being a field chair, which means I also am the supervisor, I guess you could say, of a number of professors that teach in applied theology as well.
Right. So Moody has an undergrad and a seminary, and you are primarily in the seminary, correct?
That's correct. I haven't had the privilege to be able to teach the undergrad. Maybe they want to keep me away from the undergrad students. But yes, I teach the graduate students, and their age range can vary. They could be straight out of college, or can be individuals who have worked for 20, 30 years and are coming back for education.
That's true. And so even if you have been in ministry and you've found the need for more training in the field or more biblical education, maybe you'll be back with us and have Eric as one of your professors. We never know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, let's talk about the devotional this month. We are studying the Gospel of John, which is kind of a foundational book in the New Testament, of course, and we've titled it The Light Shines. Can you give us a little background, because there's 4 Gospels, and so tell us a little bit of background on the Gospel of John specifically.
So John is a little different gospel. The Gospel of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, we call them the synoptic gospels because there are a number of things in those 3 that overlap. Sometimes you can see the same story in all 3 of those gospels. Other specifics with regard to those stories being focused on different aspects, but yet still a lot of it is covering the same material with regard to Jesus' life. Where John's gospel is written a little later, and John, it seems as if he has specifically decided that he is not going to recount what is already in the previous writings, but he's going to highlight some things that are not in there. And he does it with a purpose. He says at the end of his gospel, the purpose is so that people would come to know Jesus Christ and believe in him. So he writes that gospel with a specific purpose in mind.
Interesting. And John, of course, knew Jesus well. Tell us about John himself.
Yeah, so John, John may have been, we don't know for sure, but he may have been one of the youngest of the disciples, and he was really close with Jesus. Even at Jesus' crucifixion, when Jesus' mother is there, Mary is there, he is the one that he hands over his mother to take care of while he's gone. And so there was really
honor, really.
Yeah, an honor, and there's a closeness at the Lord's Supper. He's the one that's leaning on Jesus's breast, and Peter's like, "Hey, ask him this or that," and it's just a really close relationship. As we kind of study John's life, we see a transformation too, because there's a period where he and his older brother James, seem to have these short tempers. They call them the sons of thunder, right? But as you see John writing later in his life, you see that he's more a disciple of love. And so you can see this transformation has taken place as he spent more time with Jesus. You can see that God has done a real work in his life.
That's true. And this isn't the only book of the Bible that he wrote, correct?
Oh, definitely. No, he's wrote the Gospel of John. He's written First John, Second John, Third John, and also the Revelation at the end of our New Testament.
Yeah, so a significant author. Some of you might think, well, this is a little bit of an interesting choice for the Christmas season because it doesn't start like some of the other Gospels with his birth, correct?
That's correct. That is correct. John, once again. So we have Matthew and we have Luke that cover part of Jesus's birth, which is good. But John decides, for whatever reason, to start pre-birth. He starts in eternity past. Who is Jesus in his essence, and that he was with God in the beginning, whenever you can comprehend the beginning, Jesus was already there. The Word was already there, and he was with God, which shows that there is a distinction in some respect, but he says, but he is God. So he is very God of very God. And so that begins even the process, the mystery that we have around the Trinity. So God ends up becoming flesh, or comes and becomes a human being, and that's who we experience in Jesus Christ, that God has taken on human flesh, and for a purpose that we might at the end of John's book, so that we might believe and have a relationship with him.
Yeah, so it heightens our understanding of Jesus as more than just, like some people view it, a really great man. Here, John is absolutely claiming that Jesus is God and the deity of Jesus.
Most definitely.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about is related to our title, The Light Shines. And we looked at the verse where Jesus says, I'm the light of the world. And really, if you go through the gospel, there's a lot of mentions of light and darkness. Can you say a little bit about why you think Jesus compares himself to light?
Yeah, so so the world, if we want to look at that in that regard, the world is full of darkness. If darkness represents that which is unsavory, that which is not edifying, that which is deceitful, we know it doesn't take much to realize that that's the type of world we live in. And it's not just in our modern day, but we can also trace history and realize, well, this is just the norm for humankind, that we are always bent towards evil. And so as Jesus comes in as God, taking on human flesh, he demonstrates what goodness really is, and what honesty and what integrity actually is. So when we see him in contrast to what is the norm in our world, which is darkness, he represents light. And so it's a great contrast, right? Because where light is, darkness can't exist. The light comes and it overshadows the darkness. So it's a good representation of who Jesus is.
Yeah, and a wonderful message for Christmas, right? That, Christmas, we use a lot of lights. We put lights on our houses, on our trees. But yeah, piercing through the darkness of sin. And Jesus came with this message of light, of hope, and salvation. So
Definitely. And is also I think a motivator for us to, that little song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? So even as you say, the Christmas lights that we see can represent not only him being the ultimate source of light, but also those of us who have put our faith in him, that we are lights as well.
Yeah, let your light shine.
Yeah.
I love that.
True.
Yeah, I think that is a good way for us to end this first video, just really to encourage you to, I would encourage you to do this devotional with your entire family this month. This is a great one to share. How wonderful that we would all be in the gospel during the month of December and letting the whole truth of who Jesus is sink into our hearts and minds. So thank you for joining us for this. We're so thrilled to have you, and we're excited to read your study.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to have the privilege to be able to write it.
Thanks. For our readers, I just wanted to mention that we have a little extra something this month. We are starting in December with children's family studies that are designed to go along with the Today in the Word devotional. So there is one for December, and it's up on our website, todayintheword.org. We are doing these in partnership with Moody's Children and Family Ministry Program, and it's a wonderful study that has a Bible reading, some questions for you to interact with your children or grandchildren, and even some fun activities using flashlights that will help your children understand Jesus as the light of the world. So please go to our website and check it out. And if you don't subscribe to Today in the Word, you can for free. So that's at todayintheword.org. Thank you, and Merry Christmas from all of us at Today in the Word.